this time last year, Sean mixed up the dates because of family bereavement, and he was devastated, arriving immediately the next morning and very, very apologetic, and promised that he would definitely make up for it this year. So it'll be a year of mercy that we have forgiven him. Sean is well known to, I think, most people, particularly if you're from Meath or Laois or Carr or those areas, he's well known to us in the wrong way. But anyway, he is, has been a very, very famous football trainer. Trained Meath senior footballers for I think 23 years, winning 4 All-Irelands and 3 leagues, 8 Leinsters, and also he managed Ireland in the compromise rules against Australia. So he is legendary. I don't think Meath has won anything since, except Leinster was stolen from Loud a few years ago. But anyway, he's a herbalist, as you know, from Boylan in recent, well, many years. That's his day job, if you like, and he's renowned too for his many cures as well. So it's with great pleasure that I do welcome you tonight and thank you for being with us.
It's hard to beat that, isn't it? I think I'll go home straight away. Yeah, you can imagine the embarrassment this time last year. But I wasn't made for that I'd let the side down. And that was very important. I'll tell you why it was very important, because we're human. A few years ago, I got a tumour. I had pulled a muscle to the cheek of my backside. One of my lads was playing in a failed final. A couple of days beforehand, I came into the clinic. I hadn't seen her for 26 years. Amy Magnum was her name. We threw our arms around each other. As I threw my arms around her, I got a tear on my backside. And of course I said, oh. And the pain was outrageous. Anyhow, when I thought about it afterwards, I felt a bit embarrassed. And the reason I felt embarrassed was, when I first knew Amy Magnum, she woke in the morning, she was 26, her husband was 26, and he was dead beside her in bed, of a brain hemorrhage. And her daughter Daisy, a neurosurgeon, the other girl is involved in medicine as well. So, really, excuse me, we call it pain in the ass, or tear wasn't periformis, the proper name. It was nothing compared to what Amy would have gone through. Now, every year, for 16 years, I've gone for a checkup for my knee. I played against Carlo one day, and I would say no more, right? Anyhow, I called my left knee. Anyhow, I used to go to my Jimmy Sheehan. Jimmy retired, and then I went to Marco Rainbow. And he always said the same thing to me, no, it's no worse. You know, the muscle all around is great, just keep going away from it. But I'd be very disciplined in that I would go, and I would go every year. Anyhow, I rang Lisa, his secretary, and I said, listen, can I call over? And she said, absolutely, come straight away. And for some unforeseen reason, and for unknown reason to himself, Rainbow said, listen, I think we'll do an MRI. And afterwards, I was told to home, everything was fine. So, through the weekend, the young was playing a match, and they were playing in Kildare, and the Newcastle final. It was a big day for our family, and I was there with a pair of crutches. And suddenly, you know, the guy who was supposed to be indestructible was very, very dependent upon a pair of crutches. Anyhow, I tell the story because when it came to Monday, I still had an appointment with Rainbow on the Wednesday afterwards. I rang Lisa, I said, do I still go over? Because I've done nothing but pull muscle. Oh no, she said, you come over. For the first time in 16 years, my wife Tina came with me over for the checkup. And I was told to go last because he wanted to chat. I happened to be there early, and I said to Lisa, look, I'm just there, whenever it is, there's no panic in the world. No, she said, I want to see you first. I said, can I tell Tina? She said, is she? I said, she is. Bring her in, so I brought her in. Then Ray came in, was up a chair, throws his arms around Tina, arms around me, and said, listen, Sean, there's no easy way of saying it. We think you have a tumour in your spine. You have an appointment in the morning at 7 o'clock. And I'm saying to him, look at you, thanks be God, I want to know it anyhow. And Tina's there, and she wants me to hit him. And anyhow, why I tell the story is simple, because nobody is indestructible. And many years ago, the very first girl I ever worked with was Tina. And after a few weeks, felt she was put out for nursing, she went off, she did that. And she was with the doctor at charity. And for whatever reason, I don't know, she decided to go to back in Paris to visit the Paul headquarters. And her friend Marie worked with her to check out the community, to check out the work and the work that they did. So, who answered the door? Sister Frances, who was the nun in charge of the hospital, couldn't work again. She was there for a few days. What are you doing here? Just having a look at the place. But deep down, she wanted to join the daughters of charity. And she loved the work, and she loved what they did. And so the rest is history. She was there for some years, and from White Rock in Belfast to working in the downlands in London, to work in Liston Gride, work all over the place and so on. And she absolutely adored the work. And it was part and parcel of what she was. As a matter of fact, Sean Logan, we actually christened Sean this in Christopher Paul. So why do I tell you the story? I tell you the story because there's something about our family and nuns, right? When I met Mother Alice and I met the sisters here this evening, I can't tell you how delighted I was, for two reasons. Number one, my dad got married to him, he was married twice. His first wife died after a couple of years. And some years later, a very good friend of his, Father Connery, very great Irish patriot, great friend Sean McDermott, and his funeral was at Clune in Meath. And my dad went down to the funeral, which was before the Second World War, his brother Joe. And they stayed by people by the name of Poe in Clune, so they were in the back. Anyhow, the next day after the funeral, they went over to Drumshanbo, to the convent, to St. Clair's, alright? And Sister Betty's first wife, Sister Philomena, she was in the convent. So my dad went in to see Sister Philomena, and Mother Alice was there. But the people that he was staying with, they went the next day. Oh, sorry, they went later on after. They went in looking for petitions. Just the same as everyone else would have. And Sister Philomena said to Mother Alice when they were all gone, I don't wish to what it is about Gertie. This was my mother. There's something very right about her. I think she'd be right for Sean. My mother was 27 years younger than my father. And a fortnight later she came to Dublin. And she went home that day with an engagement ring. And a month later, we said to her brother Joe, we were driving down the country. So they went down the country. And they got married. And Joe was the best man. And the reason they wanted to get married like that is because there was going to be a war. And he wanted to go to Rome and he wanted to go to Europe. And I suppose, poor Claire's, I don't know an awful lot, only from I might be standing here to see. And I can't tell you how delighted at any stage, even in Drumshanbo, when the nuns were opening the garden at the back, from being a vegetable garden to a garden that they could go, contemplate, meditate, and so on. And they kindly asked Brother Air from Arts College himself when we go down and reach inside the garden. So that affinity would be there with them. And some of the smart boys were talking about Confucius and said about me that Sean climbed over the convent wall, we got home. So there you are. Anyhow, I'm here tonight. Why am I here tonight? Because I was really honoured and embarrassed in the way to be asked. And why was I embarrassed to be asked? Because I suppose your faith is a very personal thing. It can be very public in many ways, but deep down, that journey is a journey that you make yourself. And a lesson when I was about 20 years of age, at Cherry Lodge Hospital in Ballyfermot, this Holy Hospital. The chap sitting beside me in school, Tommy Blake, Tommy got Boylan. Well, there was a man in a bed in the corner called James Noel. That Christmas afternoon there was a party in the place. And there was a crowd of people from the Whitehall Dramatic Society. They were putting on a play and they had music for all the patients in unison. And they had a spin the bottle. So whoever got inside that had to do something, sing or dance in there. The bottle stopped at me. Now, if ever you heard of Drake, that was all. Anyhow, the bottle stopped at me. And I looked around. And there was an elderly man there in their mouth. And I said, listen, would you mind if I open my mouth? My mind went blank. And I this bed. One bed for 25 years. And there was this machine beside it to open and close the muscles of his throat. And James had forced his voice over a period of 2 years. And eventually, that's the way he could talk. But he was able to talk. And I said to James, James, what'll I play? Sean, play the men behind the wire. But if it was there yet, I couldn't think. So I started to play Ken and Bar. Well, I thought it was bad in the middle. When I saw James, and he's singing a song with me, it was probably one of the best lessons I ever got. The lesson was, you might be able to do something as good as somebody else, but if you have the chance to do it, don't turn your back on it. Face up and have a go at it. There'll always be better people better at you, but you have that unique thing yourself. And ironically, John talked about being involved in the international movement. And we were in Toulouse at a training camp. And two lads spent a lot of time with us. One was Trevor Brown, and the other was a man called Gareth Thomas. And Gareth, he was capped over 100 times for Wales. And I got to know him really well. And he and his wife, they were terribly in love. They had 4 or 5 miscarriages. And I asked him when the dinner was over, I said, Gareth, what was it like when you picked for Wales? And he stopped and he stood up. He brushed his head. And he was embarrassed. And he said, I'll tell you, he said, when I was picked for Bridgend as a young boy, I thought of, me, Gareth Thomas, played for Bridgend. My father played for him. My grandfather played for him. And they worked in the colonies, so when they came up out of the mines, the roads were all full of dust and slag and everything else. And they couldn't wait to get on the rugby team or on the rugby field to clear their lungs. And then he said, I could pick for Wales. And he said, I was as proud as punch, and I went home. And I was given, it was my first cap. The first cap actually was a jersey. And I went home, and I put on the jersey. And I stood in front of the mirror. I stood in front of the mirror, and I closed the buttons. And I opened them. And I closed them again. And I looked at myself. And I opened them again. And I closed them again. And he said, he looked at myself. I felt I was the real deal. I was the business. Me, Gareth Thomas, big for Wales. Then he said, I thought of the sacrifices that have been made for me. Here I am, at this stage, I'm getting paid to play the game I love. But he said, I will never forget that day working in the mirror. And if there's anything I can say to your Irish team, it is this. No matter what wrestling you were ever in, no matter what training camp you were ever at, just give yourself about 30 seconds every day to look in the mirror and to see yourself who you are, as you are, and who you are. And that man went through absolute torment in his life because he realised that he was homosexual. And the biggest help to him was one of the hardest men in rugby throughout, and the lady he was married to. And they helped him find who he was. And he had to go through that torment. And he went through all the key, took over while Driscoll was captain of the Lions. He was an amazing player. But he had to learn the lesson that to find himself, he had to really see himself as he was. And he would never have been able to do that with the girl that he had been married to. That was a powerful lesson. And the lesson is, there's so many young boys and girls who they're doing the junior cert, they're doing the leaving. All you can do is be yourself. Give yourself that chance. Give yourself to be the best you can be. There are times when you're going to have to stand up and maybe be a little bit different. And don't be afraid to be different. I was up in Queens in Belfast last year. The GA were being honoured for the Roman peacekeeping. And Peter Robinson was there, Mrs. Villiers, Mark McGuinness, and everybody who was involved in sport. And it was honoured for GA. Because everybody thinks of guns and drums and so on. But the community association, the whole integration of society, and the classic example beside Queens is the Art Hall. Father Gary Kearney, Father Troy and so on, and the men that run there. But that community, They have teams of over 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 9. In ladies football, in camogie, and then they go on from there as well as with the male side. But they also have every grade they have a team. And in the Armagh, they have no field. They still have no field. And if you go to Musgrave Park, the whole Ulster room, the lads from the are playing Gaelic, the girls are playing camogie, and the communities come together. And the people who are involved in violence, as it was called, or in the riots and the troubles, whatever, that of them were very important people when they were in command. And suddenly when peace came, the difficulty was they suddenly became noble. And the authorities up there were clever enough and they were smart enough to have them on courses and put them on courses, let them be in community welfare, and nearly every single one of them got a qualification. And they weren't too proud to go and to train and to retrain. And they're the things that were asked to do day in, day out, day in, day out. When I got the tumor back in 2009, I was fine, absolutely fine. And I genuinely meant it when I said to Raymond, thank you for letting me know, for telling me. And I would say in many ways it changed my life. Why did it change my life? Because of what I learned. The hardship that people will go through, the confidence people can give you, that association with other people who are going through maybe things that are worse than you have. But also the fact that you have a chance to maybe help your fellow man, whatever it is. And sometimes it's a smile, sometimes it's a shake hands, but don't look for anything. Just let it be your brief. We live in a society where, so many things are taken for granted. We see it in sport, that area of expectancy, that area of entitlement. You earn whatever you get. There's no entitlement. You have your chance to lead your own life and make sure that you do that. The Indians have a great expression in patches. They talk, because again, they're reflecting on history. And they say, we are who we are, but we are who we were also. And that is vitally important when we are in this church here this evening. Because lots of people will say to me, there's no originality. We have 6 kids. I always want to make his confirmation next Saturday. There was a youth mass in the village at home only 3 weeks ago. And it was on a Saturday night. Father Dean would tell the choir in Boylan, it's a good choir, really good choir. And for a 12-year-old to say to you, Daddy, isn't it great to go to a mass with a bit of joy? And the minute, Joe, John, Dean, the sisters, and the music started here tonight, what sort of energy was there? The goodness that's in it, the wholeness that's in it, and that lifts your spirit. And that gives you the mental break. Because no matter what course you're on, no matter what qualification you have, no matter how hard things are, I never used to talk one night with the lads. And can be boastful and say, was it a good interview? Probably as good an interview as ever I did, because it actually wasn't to do with sport. It was to do with the other side. It was to do with giving a talk in Holland to 600 doctors. And the man who was running the Macabre show founded the TM, Transcendental Meditation. And he wanted me to go to India with him for 3 months. And the next day, they wanted me to stay on, but I had to go home. And they said, I'll stay on for a few hours and we'll bring you to the airport. As they said that, I knew the driver that they were going to give me was supposed to be an ex-racing driver. I knew he was a lousy driver, I knew we were going to crash, but I knew it would be alright. So we're driving from London, Holland, we're heading for Brussels. And ahead, half a mile away, you can see the place is coming like snow, but actually it's hailstones, about that depth of hailstones. And the driver takes his foot off the accelerator, the car back up place across 3 lanes of traffic. He's slapped into a barrier right beside where it was. We were fine, we turned down, we headed for the airport. Now when I came home, the accident didn't cause me a lot. You're going to happen, you'll be alright. And I'd be one of these lads every day, even before here tonight. I'd be a member of that's it. You know, all through life, Virgin Mary will help so much. And the reason I tell you this story is because I was really concerned with the movement that I saw people at. And I was concerned because I could see that they were depending upon it to run their life. So I went to see a man called, Tom Fee. And he said to me, look, Sean, there's a man I'd like you to meet. And he said he's living with 3 confreres. They're living down at Glendalough as herbalist for a month. So I head down to Glendalough and we follow Lance Freeman. And there's hundreds there. So I shake hands and go home. Come down the next day, I shake hands and go home. Third day, shake hands and go home. Fourth day, he held my hand and he said, could I meet you in Dublin when the retreat is over? I said, I'd be delighted. So lo and behold, nearly 3 weeks later, I get the phone call. So I said, right, I can reach in an hour. Out of the car, and I was there yet, I couldn't start. It was bad enough last year, I couldn't hear. But no way the car started. So, no mobiles, I rang for the Lance, and he said, Sean, we come out and see you. And their car broke down. So we went to it. 3 months later, I called to see your Tom again. I was after leaving in Meath, Daddy's back in town, and the very man said, the minute I walked in the door, I have to go out with a sick call, but maybe you could help me pick up somebody at the airport. And I pick up Father Lance for you. And we sat down and we talked for 3 hours. And we talked about things like anger, jealousy, frustration, vexation, all the different sorts of things of life, parts of life, and how they were all part of life. And that it wasn't sinful to think about any of these things. But it's when they took over, you put me in trouble. And I suppose that was the lesson that I learned. That the movement that I had seen people at, people were depending upon you to run their life. Whereas the best thing you can do with your children is have the example of being proud and happy to lead your own life, to lead it well, and as best your ability. I tell you this story because when I got the tumour and I had to go for various scans, and I'm claustrophobic. And honest to God, lay down in the bed, I sat up in the bed, and the ones giving me an anesthetic, no, I said, I'll be fine, I'll be grand. But the thoughts are going into this machine, honest to God, I'd say I sweat more than I ever did in 22 years playing for me and 23 years medicine. It was just unbelievable. And it just took that from me to say a prayer that I would say every day. It's the Maranatha, it's meditation, it's Christian meditation. And Lord, come on, Jesus. And I got through every single day and all the different months. And 2 years later, when I got to Kurz, I had to go to a clinic in Germany, and in 13 weeks was fine. And I suppose, what did it do? I suppose maybe we realised more than anything else. Never stray too far away from who we are. And the heritage that we've been given, the faith that has been handed down to us, and the faith that people have fought for. It wasn't being pushed down our neck, but it's part of our being. And it's always been part of that. I thank God for that. For John, for me, for Joe. I thank the sisters for